You're sitting across from her at dinner. She's talking about her day, and you realize something that makes your stomach drop. You can't remember the last time you made a decision about your own life. Your friends. You stopped seeing them because she needed you around. Your hobbies. Gone because she said you were being selfish. Your schedule. Completely dictated by her needs, her moods, her priorities. You thought being agreeable would make her love you more. You thought sacrifice showed devotion. But here's what actually happened. She lost all respect for you. Here's what no one tells you. The moment you stop setting boundaries is the moment she starts testing how far she can push. I'm a woman, and I'm about to tell you the 5 boundaries you must set early, or watch her turn you into a doormat. If you've been bending over backwards and getting nothing but coldness in return, this is why. These aren't about being controlling. They're about commanding respect. Most men avoid setting boundaries because they think it'll push her away. But the truth, weak boundaries push her away faster than anything else. Boundary 1, your time is not hers to control. Let's start with the boundary that sets the tone for everything else, your time. If she dictates your schedule from day 1, you've already lost her respect. Most men don't realize they're handing over control until it's too late. You think being available shows you care. You think dropping everything proves you're serious. But here's what she's actually reading. Desperation. Women test whether you have a life outside of her. It's not conscious. She's not sitting there plotting, but on an instinctive level, she's watching. Does he have friends? Does he have commitments? Does he have things that matter beyond me? Because if you don't, you're not valuable. You're available. And available is not attractive. When you drop everything the moment she calls, when you cancel plans with friends every time she wants attention, when you restructure your entire life around her schedule, she reads it as, this man has no other options. Watch how this plays out in real time. She calls during your work hours expecting you to chat about nothing important. You answer because you don't want her to feel ignored. She gets upset when you have plans with friends, asking why they're more important than her. You cancel to prove she matters. She demands you cancel commitments to meet her needs. A last-minute dinner, a spontaneous outing, some crisis that can't wait. You do it because you think it shows love. She forgets you mentioned something important to you, a work deadline, a personal goal, a commitment you made. Because your priorities don't register as real to her anymore. Here's the psychological mechanism you need to understand. Time equals value. In any economy, scarcity creates worth. When you give unlimited access to your time, your value drops to nothing. She needs to feel like she's choosing a man others want, a man with options, a man whose time is valuable. If you're always available, sitting by the phone, rearranging your life for her convenience, you appear to have no other options. And a man with no options is a man she can control completely. So how do you set this boundary? Tell her up front, early. I have commitments Tuesday and Thursday nights. Don't apologize. Don't over-explain. Don't justify. Just state it as fact. When she tests it, and she will, by creating emergencies or getting upset that you're not available, hold firm. Show her through action, not explanation. Your time is yours to allocate. She gets access to parts of it, not all of it. What happens when you don't set this boundary? She starts making all the plans. Your calendar becomes her calendar. Your friends drift away because you're never available. You become isolated. And ironically, she complains you're clingy even though she demanded all your time. Because now you need her. You have nothing else. And need is the opposite of attraction. But here's the boundary most men are terrified to set. Boundary 2. She doesn't get to disrespect you in public. This one destroys men because you think letting it slide makes you secure. You think laughing along shows you're confident. But here's the reality. The first time she mocks you in front of others and you let it slide, you've given her permission to do it forever. Public disrespect is a test. She's watching to see if you'll defend yourself or if you'll smile and take it like a trained animal. Women test public humiliation to gauge your self-respect. If you laugh it off or stay silent, she knows she can dominate you. And understand this, public disrespect isn't just about you and her. It's her unconscious way of announcing to everyone watching that you're beneath her. She's establishing social hierarchy, and you're at the bottom. Watch how this shows up. She makes a cutting joke about your job in front of friends, how you're not making enough money, how your career's going nowhere, how her friend's partner is doing so much better. Everyone laughs. You smile awkwardly. She interrupts you mid-story to correct details that don't matter, undermining your credibility over nothing. She rolls her eyes when you speak, a silent broadcast to everyone that what you're saying is stupid. She shares embarrassing stories about you to get laughs. Your failures, your insecurities, private moments weaponized for social entertainment. The psychological mechanism here is social hierarchy. Women are intensely aware of status. If she can diminish you publicly without consequence, she's established that you're low status. And here's the brutal part. Other men and women watching register your lack of response as weakness. They see her disrespect you, and they see you accept it. In that moment, you've lost status not just with her, but with everyone present. How do you set this boundary? The moment it happens, address it immediately but calmly. Don't make a scene. Don't match her energy. Simply say, "We can talk about this privately, but not here." And then change the subject. If she does it again, because she will test whether you meant it, leave the gathering without drama. Just stand up and go. No explanation, no argument. Remove yourself. Never argue with her in public. That's giving her exactly what she wants, a spectacle where she can play victim. What happens when you don't set this boundary? She escalates the disrespect. What started as small jokes becomes open contempt. Friends start treating you differently because they've watched you accept abuse. She loses attraction because she's publicly established dominance. You become the punchline in your own relationship. Why do men fail here? You think laughing along makes you easygoing. You don't want to cause a scene. You tell yourself it's just a joke, but she's training everyone, including herself, that you're beneath respect. Every time you smile through disrespect, you're teaching her that you'll tolerate anything. And the next boundary, it determines whether she sees you as a man or a servant. Boundary 3. Your money is not community property before commitment. Let's talk about something that makes men uncomfortable. Money. Specifically, the moment you start paying for everything without clear commitment, you're being auditioned as a provider, not valued as a partner. You think generosity shows you're a good man. You think covering everything proves you can take care of her. But here's what's really happening. You're training her to see you as a resource, not a person. Women assess your generosity early to determine exploitability. That sounds harsh, but it's true. She's watching how easily you open your wallet, how much you'll give without reciprocation, whether you have standards or just an open checkbook. When you pay for everything without boundaries, you're not showing value. You're showing that you believe money is your only value. Watch the pattern. She never reaches for the check, not once, not even a gesture toward her purse. She forgets her wallet consistently. Every date, every outing, some convenient memory lapse. She expects expensive dates, but contributes nothing. Not money, not planning, not effort. She mentions bills she can't pay in conversations, testing whether you'll offer to help. Her friends know you pay for everything because she's told them, and they're watching to see if you're stupid enough to keep doing it. The psychological mechanism is simple but powerful. Resources equal value, but only when given strategically. Unlimited financial access without reciprocity breeds entitlement. She stops appreciating what you do because she expects it. More importantly, she needs to feel she's earning your investment, not entitled to it. When everything comes easy, when she contributes nothing, and gets everything, you're not attractive, you're convenient. How do you set this boundary? Early dates, first few times out, you pay. That's fine. Keep them modest, coffee, casual dinner. By date 3 or 4, suggest splitting or alternating. Watch her reaction, it tells you everything. Does she offer? Does she get offended? Does she suddenly have concerns about traditional gender roles when it's convenient? Never pay her bills or loan her money before serious commitment. If she's in financial trouble, that's her problem to solve. You're not her safety net. What happens when you don't set this boundary? She sees you as a resource, not a person. Your value becomes entirely financial. The moment your situation changes, you lose a job, take a pay cut, have an unexpected expense, her interest changes too. And here's the irony, she'll resent you anyway. Because she never had to earn your generosity, it has no value. Things given freely are never appreciated. Here's the test that reveals everything. Notice if she ever offers to pay or cook for you. See if she contributes in other ways, planning dates, making effort, investing her resources. If it's only one directional, you're not in a relationship, you're a sponsor. But here's the boundary that separates men from boys. Boundary 4, she doesn't get to weaponize emotions against your logic. This boundary is where most men completely fail. When she cries, yells, or shuts down every time you raise a legitimate concern, she's training you to never hold her accountable. And you let her, because you can't stand seeing her upset. But here's what's really happening. She's learned that tears or anger end conversations she doesn't want to have. Emotional outbursts are often tactical, not authentic, not always. Sometimes she's genuinely upset, but many times, especially when the pattern repeats, it's a learned response. She's discovered that going emotional derails your logic. If you back down every time she gets emotional, you've lost all authority in the relationship. You can never address problems. You can never set expectations. You can never hold her to standards. Because the moment you try, she cries, and you fold. Watch how this plays out. You bring up something that bothers you, calmly and reasonably. Maybe she's been distant. Maybe she did something disrespectful. Maybe she broke a promise. You approach it carefully, trying to communicate. She immediately cries or gets angry. Suddenly, you're the bad guy for making her feel bad. You end up comforting her for the thing she did to you. The original issue never gets resolved. You apologize for bringing it up. This pattern repeats until you stop bringing things up entirely. You learn to stay silent, and she learns she's untouchable. The psychological mechanism here is that emotions can be unconscious manipulation tools. Women are socialized to use emotional responses strategically. That's not an attack, it's observable reality. From childhood, girls learn that crying gets results, that emotional displays create caretaking responses. If tears work once to avoid accountability, they'll work forever, until you stop responding to them as leverage. How do you set this boundary? When she gets emotional, stay calm. Don't match her energy. Say clearly, I understand you're upset, but we still need to address this. Don't comfort her immediately. Let her feel her feelings, but don't let feelings replace resolution. If she refuses to discuss things rationally, end the conversation. We'll talk when you're ready to have a real discussion. And walk away. Never let emotions derail accountability. What happens when you don't set this boundary? You can never address problems. Every issue gets buried under her emotional response. She learns she's untouchable, above criticism, beyond accountability. You build massive resentment because nothing ever gets resolved. And she loses respect because you can't stand firm. A man who crumbles at tears is a man who can't handle a real woman. Why is this so hard? You're biologically programmed to comfort her distress. You hate seeing her cry. You think giving in shows love, but it shows weakness, and deep down she knows it. She's testing whether you'll hold frame when she loses hers. When you fail that test, When you abandon your point to manage her emotions, you've shown that her feelings control you completely. And this final boundary, it's the one that determines whether she stays or leaves. Boundary 5. Your life purpose comes before her feelings. This is the boundary that saves or destroys your relationship. The moment your dreams, goals, and purpose become negotiable for her comfort, you become fundamentally unattractive to her. Not less attractive. Completely unattractive. Because you've shown that you're a man without a mission. And a man without a mission is a man with no value. Women are drawn to men on a mission. That's not opinion. It's biological programming. When you sacrifice your purpose to manage her feelings, when you scale back your ambitions to make her happy, when you abandon your goals because she needs more attention, she loses respect. She'll never say it directly. She might even claim she wants more of your time. But watch what happens when you actually give it up. She becomes more distant, not closer. Watch this pattern. You're working on a business or project that matters to you, something that gives your life meaning beyond her. She complains you're not giving her enough attention. You feel guilty. You scale back your ambitions to make her happy. You spend more time with her, less time on your purpose. And she becomes colder, more critical, less interested. Eventually, she says you have no drive, no ambition. The exact thing you sacrifice to please her becomes the reason she leaves. The psychological mechanism is powerful and unforgiving. Women need to feel they're with a man of value. Your purpose signals value. It shows you have something bigger than her, something that would exist whether she's there or not. When you abandon your purpose for her, she reads it as, he has nothing else. That terrifies her, because it makes her your entire world, and being someone's entire world is suffocating, not flattering. How do you set this boundary? Be clear from the start. I'm building something important, and it requires time. Don't apologize for your dedication. Make time for her, but not at the expense of your mission. Structure your life so she fits into it, not around it. If she demands you choose between her and your purpose, choose your purpose. Every time. Because if she's making you choose, she's the wrong woman. What happens when you don't set this boundary? She becomes your entire identity. Everything revolves around her, your friends, your goals, your time, your energy. It all flows toward keeping her happy. And you resent her for holding you back, even though you chose it. She loses attraction because you're no longer the man she met. You wake up at 50 realizing you gave up everything that mattered, and she left anyway. Because she was never attracted to the version of you that had no purpose beyond her. Here's the brutal truth that no one tells you. She says she wants all your attention. She complains when you're focused on other things. She creates guilt around your ambitions. But what she's really doing is testing whether you have the strength to say no. When you fail that test by abandoning your goals, by making her feelings more important than your purpose, she's disappointed. Deep down, she wanted you to choose yourself, because that's the man she actually wants. The man who's so focused on his mission that she has to work to get his attention. Why do men get this wrong? Society tells you relationships require sacrifice. She tells you she needs more time and attention. You think proving your love means making her the priority. But she's attracted to the man who makes himself the priority and invites her along, not the man who abandons himself to serve her. So here's what I need you to understand. Boundaries aren't about controlling her. They're about respecting yourself enough to demand respect. The woman who gets angry when you set boundaries isn't the woman you want. Because a high-value woman doesn't fear your boundaries. She's attracted to them. She wants a man who knows his worth, who protects his time, who defends his dignity, who guards his resources, and who refuses to abandon his purpose. So the real question is, are you finally ready to stop being a doormat?